Welcome to Superhero Pow. I'm your host nerd, Tom Friend. Hey, how you doing today? You know what I've been noticing? Over the past few years, there's been a trend of removing secret identities from the superhero genre, as many seem to believe that the secret identity is a stupid concept. You can see where they're coming from, as Lois Lane has looked at Superman and Clark Kent's face for years now and has never noticed a resemblance. But if you stop and really examine the concept of the secret identity, it's pretty frickin' clear how important they are. First off, there is a dance between fantasy and reality. While clearly there is nothing realistic about a superhero story, a certain amount of realism makes them better. Though too much realism, and then it's no longer a superhero story. And the secret identity concept works the same way. It's the balance between realism and fantasy that makes it work. So when one side or the other side argues for too much realism or too much fantasy, they are off the mark about what makes a good superhero story. For example, this is like saying everything the Flash touches should explode because that's what would happen in real life if something was moving that fast. But nobody wants that kind of realism. Nor do people really want Superman to be able to selectively remove people's memories just by kissing them. So, we need balance. To find the sweet spot for a secret identity, I think you have to examine the character and the tone of each story. But in general, I'll say all secret identities stem from the need of anonymity. And the reasons are usually A, people will freak out when they find out what I can do, and I'll never have a normal life. B, I don't want to spend my life working in law enforcement. C, I'm breaking the law and I don't want to go to jail or get sued over this. D, supervillains may go after my family and friends. And E, I can't trust my family and friends, and they will reveal my secret identity. All 5 of these make perfect sense and are why secret identities are not stupid. Let's look at the first one. I want to be treated like a normal person. Come on, just watching TMZ highlights this problem. The paparazzi would mercilessly hound people with superpowers, and you know it. And depending on the superpower, everyone would be downright scared of him too. This guy could sneeze and destroy a house? I don't want him living next to me. Friends would be asking for countless favors too. You think it's hard owning a pickup truck? Taking it a step further, now people can second guess you to your face. Hey, why didn't you save X? What gives you the right to do X? I saw you on TV and you really screwed up. If I had those powers, blah, 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 blah. Do you really want that in your life? The next reason was, I don't want to be a cop. Now, there are a few characters who do. Savage Dragon, for one. But, Peter Parker wants to be a scientist. Clark Kent wants to be a writer. Bruce Wayne just doesn't trust him. So your typical superhero just doesn't want to wear a badge and punch a clock. They've been gifted by fate and have just decided to help out when they can. This takes us to the next reason, vigilantes. Well, okay, you can make a citizen arrest. Vigilantism itself is mostly outlawed. So if you want to catch bad guys, but you don't want to be a cop, well, then you should probably think about wearing a mask. This is what makes the storyline in Marvel's Civil War a little laughable, because there is no way you can be a superhero and not break the law. Heck, in some cities, it's illegal to just even wear a mask, let alone do everything else that a typical superhero does. Now, I'm sure somebody just got super excited about what I just said because of all the pandemic rules. But please remember, the police also don't run around like crazy arresting everybody on Halloween. It's just something they can do when they want to. So, unless the superheroes are all government run like in The Incredibles, they're breaking the law. And of course, let's not forget getting sued. We've seen restaurants get sued for serving coffee that was too hot. Imagine all the lawsuits Spider-Man would have to go through if everyone knew who he was. Next, there's the ever-popular supervillains will go after my family. Now, this is heavily influenced by the superpowers involved. While it would be tough for Daredevil to protect his good buddy Foggy from Bullseye, the job becomes even harder to protect him against Kingpin, and nearly impossible to protect him against the Titanium Man. And remember, superheroes usually have a code against killing, and there's no real blue code for supervillains to worry about. Although that would make an interesting story. But heck, even in real life with the blue code, friends and family of the police will still get targeted from time to time. Lastly, we have, I can't trust my friends or family to keep a secret. We've seen this in comics several times, where people who know give it up and bad things happen. Daredevil, Identity Crisis. You can barely count on your friends and family to keep quiet about normal secrets. As Jerry Seinfeld once said to an upset girlfriend after she learned that his friend George knew a secret about her, he said, "Well, I have to tell my friends, but my friends don't have to tell you." So it makes perfect sense for a superhero to have a secret identity. DC even published a book all about it, Identity Crisis. The Justice League had set up their satellite headquarters, and it became a target for supervillains. Then the elongated man's wife, Sue, is hanging out at the satellite because she knows all about it, and she gets attacked by Dr. Light. Then the Atom's ex-wife, Jean, kills Sue because she knows that Sue is married to the elongated man, in a roundabout way. She then outs even more superhero secrets, and Robin, Tim Drake's dad, gets killed. So, secret identities are serious, people. Unfortunately, the final conclusion of that story was completely misaligned with the events of the story. Basically saying that in the face of all this tragedy, the superhero community needs to draw closer together. Actually, if the heroes had all kept tighter lip about their secret identities, none of these deaths would have happened in the first place. Well, we don't read comics for logic, do we? Now I'm sure the anti-secret identity crowd will argue, well, come on, it's just plain stupid that nobody recognizes them. Well, true enough, except for a few exceptions. To paraphrase John Byrne, just because you've never seen Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders in the same room together doesn't mean they're the same person. And most people in the DCU haven't seen Superman and Clark Kent clearly enough to see all the similarities. As for people like Lois and Jimmy, okay, maybe they should know by now, depending where they are in their relationships and, whatever reboot this is based on. But still, when you're talking about people with various superpowers, I'm sure somebody can think of some clever way to keep it a secret. And I, for one, really don't want my stories bogged down with that kind of details. But sure, secret identities don't always make sense. But overall, it makes perfect sense for a hero not to expose his or her identity to every dork that works in the office. But what do you think? Am I making sense here? Or should I just go back in my basement? Either way, thanks for spending time with me. And if you could be so kind to like, subscribe, and notify, I'll make sure to always keep my mask on. Wait, that sounded creepy as hell.